Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my September book haul, and it's a pretty big book haul. So the first book I'm going to be talking about is actually an arc, and it is Saving Fable by Scott Reinken? I don't know how to say his last name. So this is a middle grade fantasy series by the same author who wrote the YA sci-fi series. I think it's the Nixia series. I have read Nixia. I thought it was a decent debut novel. I wasn't my favorite, and I did read half of the second book in the series, which I ended up DNFing, unfortunately. So it wasn't my favorite series. So when I saw that he came out with a middle grade fantasy series, I thought it'd be interesting to see what it reads like. So this series follows our main character, Indria, and she is a character in waiting. And she gets to go to this prestigious school where they teach you how to be a protagonist in a story. But when Indria gets to school, she fails her audition and ends up being a side character instead of a protagonist. Then the famed city of Fable gets under attack, and Indria and all of her character friends have to try and save the city of Fable from evil forces. So I'm looking to read this book in the month of September. It is released on September 17th, so I'm looking to read it this month and leave a review before its release date. The next book I got was a pre-order from Amazon, and that is Five Dark Fates by Kendar Blake. This came out on September 2nd. This is the fourth and final book in the Three Dark Crowns series, which is a dark YA fantasy about three sisters who all are vying for the throne of this island, and in order to get the throne, they have to kill one another off. So I actually really enjoy this series. I know that some people really enjoy it, some people don't. I personally like it, and I'm reading Two Dark Reigns currently, and I will say that Kendar Blake is really expanding the world, expanding the characters' experiences, bringing a lot of history of the island and lore into the story. So I am just so excited to get through the third book so I can finally see how this series ends and see which sister is going to be crowned the rightful queen. The next two books I ordered from Books A Million. The first one is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I'm not sure how to say the last name. This is another YA fantasy, and I've heard some buzz going on about this book, and what I've seen so far, the reviews have been really good. So, plus I think the cover is really pretty. So I thought I'd go ahead and give it a try. This is a debut novel from this author, and for a debut book, it's actually fairly thick. It's about 500 pages, but all I know about this story is it is about a witch and a witch hunter who come together in some sort of like fake relationship or marriage to thwart evil or something along those lines. So it sounds like a good fantasy romance, and I'm very excited to pick this up. I think it might be a good Halloween autumn read. The next book I picked up was House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin Craig. This is another YA fantasy, and this is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, which is a German fairy tale, but I think it was rewritten by the Brothers Grimm. So I actually have already read this, and I will say I absolutely loved it. I devoured this book. So I don't want to go into too much detail because I'll talk about that in my September wrap up, but definitely if you're looking for like a spooky, atmospheric, Halloweenish read, definitely pick this up. I cannot recommend it enough. So the rest of the books I got were from Book Outlet, so let's just get on into the rest of those. The first one I'm going to be talking about is The Last Namsara by Kristen Cicerelli. This is a YA fantasy that I have had on my Goodreads TBR for probably since I have joined Goodreads. I find that the cover is really pretty, but just by looking at the cover, you would have no idea that this is a book about dragons. I believe our main character is a dragon slayer, and she has to slay a dragon for the king, and in doing so, she ends up learning a lot about her kingdom and what's going on with the dragons. I think that's what this book is about, but I've actually seen a resurgence on Goodreads of people reading this, and the reviews are just awesome, so I'm very excited to get into this. And of course, since I got The Last Namsara, I did go ahead and pick up the companion novel, which is The Caged Queen. I honestly have no idea what The Caged Queen is about, and I haven't even read the synopsis. I'm a little bit scared because I don't want to spoil anything for The Last Namsara, so I haven't even read the synopsis, but since people love the previous book so much, I'm assuming this one will be just as good, and I believe that the author is coming out with a third companion novel soon, if it's not out already. The next two books I got, I believe, are a duology. It is The Glass Spare and The Cursed Sea by Lauren De Stefano. Like I said, I believe this is a duology. This is a YA fantasy series about a girl who finds out that she can turn things into gemstone with her touch. So I really like these covers. The premise sounds really interesting. I thought I would give it a go. They were really cheap on Book Outlet, and I've also seen this series around Goodreads for a while, so I went ahead and picked it up, and I'm actually really interested in diving into it. The next book I got was Blood Witch by Susan Dennard. This is the third and final book in the, I think it's called the Truth Witch series. I'm not even sure. But now I have the completed series, and guess what? I haven't even read the first one, but I have the completed series. Just based on the premise of this series, I'm sure it's one that I'll absolutely love. And I am looking to start the series very soon, if not the beginning of 2020. So now I don't have to worry about another book coming out, and I can just go ahead and marathon the series. The next 4 books I got are all adult fantasy. And the first one I have is Priest of Bones by Peter McLean. This is a book that I've seen some people that I follow on Goodreads that read a lot of adult fantasy have read and reviewed this book and really spoken highly of it. Now, I will say for an adult fantasy, it's actually really short, which kind of surprised me, but this story is a grimdark fantasy, and the premise of this book is that a priest named Thomas returns from war only to find that the city that he left has been kind of taken over by all of these gangs and corrupt officials, and he kind of has to win back his city from corruption. It's said that it is a combination of soldiers, gangsters, magic, and war. And that just sounds awesome, and I'm really excited to get into this, especially since I've heard such good things about it. Next book I got is City of Lies by Sam Hawke. This book I actually want to pick up very soon because I think it sounds incredibly interesting. It follows the main character, Joven, and he is best friends with the heir of this kingdom, empire, I'm not really sure. And Joven is a master of chemicals and poisons. So when the Chancellor is poisoned unsuspectingly and probably dies, Joven has to figure out who is trying to sabotage his kingdom. The next 2 books I got were The Queen of Sorrows and The Reluctant Queen by Sarah Beth Durst. This is book 2 and 3 of The Queens of Renthia, and the first one is Queen of Blood, which I got at the used bookstore probably like a year ago, and I still haven't read it. But now I have the completed series. I can finally go ahead and marathon this series as well. All I know about this series is that it follows a warrior and a young student as they are trying to rid their land of these malevolent spirits. I really don't know how the queen plays into all of that, but that's all I know about this series is that there are these evil spirits, and I think there might be like spirit magic, which is not something that I have read a lot of, so I'm really intrigued and really excited to finally start the Queens of Renthia series. Alright guys, so that is it for my September book haul. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye!